Hello there. My name is Solmaz, and you're listening to Tabling Thoughts podcast. This is the first episode of Tabling Thoughts, and I'm actually very excited to start this new journey with you guys. In this podcast, I'm going to talk about my experiences as a relationship coach and psychotherapist. The little tiny points that I noticed in my client's life that every and each of them affect the quality of their lives and relationships enormously, and for some reasons they don't pay that much of attention to them. And of course, confidentiality is always there. Before we start the first episode of this podcast, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. As I mentioned, I'm a relationship coach with the fancy name of Effective Relationship Strategist. I also practice as a psychotherapist in Ontario, Canada. I live in Canada and I am married to a Canadian man and I have a son. I also have another podcast called Laam Kalam, which is in Farsi and it's for my Farsi speaking audience. And it's a very well received podcast. As of today, more than 3 million downloads on Castbox. The purpose of that podcast always have been to talk about the issues, not necessarily giving direct or custom-made solutions. Same will apply here. So if you know anyone who speaks in Farsi and is looking for that kind of content, Laam Ta Kalam is the place to go. And we will put everything in description. The link to Laam Ta Kalam, my Instagram page, which again, most of the content is in Farsi. So what now? Let's see. What's the first story I'm gonna tell you guys here? The story goes back to more than a decade ago when I had just immigrated to Canada from Iran. We were hanging out as a group of people, some friends, some closer friends, and among us there was this gentleman who was a friend of friend who had a huge crisis in his marriage. To make a long story short, he had done an affair in his relationship, unfortunately, and his wife was extremely mad at him at the time, going to every single person who knew him and his family and his business, talking about him, saying that what he has done, how this betrayal had affected her and the marriage and their child. And then apparently people, friends tried to come in the middle and bring to their attention how marriage matters, how much sacrifice they should do to keep the whole family get together and stuff like that. And the wife had changed mind, gone back to live with him. Shortly after, the gentleman had done another affair. I just want to bring something to your attention. The moral of this story is not going to be based on affair, why we do affair, and is it right or wrong. Of course it's wrong. So I'm not going to go around this affair part, okay? The story goes back to the day, rather night, I met this gentleman among my friends. We were talking, everyone was just throwing at him, saying that, dude, what's wrong with you? You did it again. What's the matter with you? Don't you want to have your life get together? Why do you do that? Blah, blah, blah. So there was so much of shame there towards him. And I got a chance to sit beside him. We were chatting and I asked him, what do you think right now? Because his face was extremely confused. And I said, what do you think? How do you feel now? And coming from a person who decade after pursued to be a psychotherapist, it shows that I had kind of prerequisite to be a good listener. Yeah. Anyways, I asked him, what do you feel? How do you feel? And what are your thoughts? And he said, you know what, Solmaz? I'm extremely confused. I said, how so? Why? And he said, because she reacted the second time she found out I did another affair exactly, identically, the same way that the first time she found out. And I'm wondering, why did she get that surprise again? It was like she just found out I'm a dirty, unfaithful, not trusting man. How is this possible? Why was she so surprised? I'm the same man. Of course, we got back together to make it happen, but I did the same mistake. Why was she so surprised? And I could see, guys, I could see in the poor dude's face all different kind of feelings. Shame, embarrassment, confusion, shocked, everything. And it dawned on me at the moment. Wow, that's a big lesson for me here. Why did she get that surprise? What was there for her? It was there in the corner of my mind. And years after, when I started my coaching practice, I came across this repetitive pattern in many of my clients' behaviors that they see a sign. They notice the personality and the traits of the person whom they're in relationship with. Yet, they choose to ignore the signs. And they choose to think, no, he's going to change, she's going to change. Yet, there is no sign of change or intentions to be changed in the other person. How so? If I want to change, I should go get professional help. I should go to therapy sessions. I should work on myself. I should get help. So if my significant other, my partner, doesn't get help, just says, okay, I'm going to make it happen. We are going to make it happen. If he was equipped with that kind of skills not to make the same problem, not to make the same mistake, he wouldn't make it in the first place. What did he do in between that you thought, okay, he's gonna be a different person? Okay, here is the challenge for you. Here is something for you to take on and think about it. When was the last time you saw a pattern, behavioral pattern, in your partner, in your kid, in your significant other, colleague, friend, that it was extremely annoying to you, and you talked with them about it, and you asked them to change it, okay? And later on, they did it again, and you were extremely mad at them. First off, you were not mad at them. You were mad at yourself. Why you let that kind of expectation grow in your mind that they won't do it again and they will listen to you. Second, my point is here. Why do we get so surprised when we see a person is doing or saying or acting the same way they were before without seeing any intentional change in them? I can tell you blah, 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 blah. I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to be a better person. Just give me time. So what are you doing exactly? You just told me you're going to be a better person. But how? What are the resources? What are the kind of helps you're looking for? How are you going to make this change? Right? My point is here. Like the lesson that I learned and I have been practicing with my clients and I'm coaching them with that is, do not put yourself in a situation that you surprise yourself constantly. And the resentment comes after this surprise is not toward the person who has been doing that to you, it's toward yourself. Because you are mad at yourself for putting that kind of expectations in your mind, letting that expectation grow that everything's gonna change. If your partner has challenges with smoking, drinking, and everything, and every single night you ask them to stop it and they say, okay. And then again, you see the same pattern of, I had a client who told me that, yeah, he's going out hundreds of times. I asked him to lock the door, but he still doesn't lock the door. I'm not saying he's doing something right or wrong. I'm not talking about him. I'm not judging him. I'm not giving solutions for him. My solution is for my client. What gives you, what lets you to grow the expectation in your mind that he will lock the door when he has been always a forgetful person? The other day, I shared another story in my Instagram account regarding to the incident I had with my husband. My husband is a heavy sleeper. He sleeps like there is nothing happening out there. When we were dating once, he told me a story of the time that there was a hurricane around his house and he slept through the hurricane. And when he woke up the day after, most of the trees in his yard were broken and he didn't even hear anything. He was sleeping through the hurricane. So imagine, he told me that kind of story And I knew that, and I laughed at the moment. Oh, he's so cute. He's a heavy sleeper. And then later on, when we have kid, and my kid is crying in the middle of the night, and my husband is sleeping through his crying, should I be surprised? Should I be mad? No, that's a fact. I'm not saying he can sleep, or I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying that some facts are not there for us to fight with them. The first step of change is acceptance. We should first accept this is the fact. My husband doesn't wake up that easily in the middle of night. That's a fact. What can I do for it? That's another story. Maybe another episode we will talk about it. My point is here, do not let yourself to be surprised over a fact, over something that you know it's not right, you know it's not helpful, but you have seen this pattern several times. Let's accept what bothers us first. Let's get to acceptance of the facts, and then the rest will come easier. Okay, my friends, hope the first episode of Tabling Thoughts have been helpful for you. I hope we connect more. I would be really happy if you share this episode with those who are surprised several times and the resentment hasn't been helpful for them. Till next episode, take care of yourself and be kind to yourself.